Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking Controversy.
I like it.
And whiskey? Maybe. All right, Ben, what is this rare unicorn that people are hunting?
It is, bam, Traveler. So you mentioned unicorn.
Well, anything that has the word Buffalo Trace in it seems
attached to it, yeah.
Seems to go unicorn, even if it's unjustified.
Yeah, and so this one seemed to start out. So this is a new one that's a collaboration from Buffalo Trace and Chris Stapleton, the musician.
The what?
The musician.
Don't know him.
Really?
I really don't.
Okay. Anyway, so this one, as you said, it kind of did start out as a unicorn because when it first came out, there was a lot of hype about it. And now I think it's turning more into just a dead, bloated horse on the side of the road as opposed to a unicorn.
That everybody stops and kicks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we finally got around to getting a bottle. When I say we, you picked it up.
So I didn't realize, I know that this is a kind of new popular, whiskey.
Yeah.
I was at a local liquor store, a municipal store actually, a few miles away.
Yep.
And they're a little bit overpriced in general, but like it may have been on the shelf. I totally missed it.
Yeah.
But at the counter with the little like advertisement, hey, discount, like whatever, and I paid $36.99, I think.
Yeah, and it's usually around $40, but to get it at that particular store for less, because again, it was municipal, they run a little more expensive.
Yep.
So I think that that's indicative of how the hype of this bottle started and has plummeted.
And they were pushing it, pushing it's maybe a little bit strong. They were advertising it for a good price, and so I grabbed one.
Yeah. I'm happy to review it because I did want to review it. I just wasn't interested in buying a bottle, so I'm glad you did.
Yep. So, but then this morning, and the reason why I said Controversy, I bought it because it said the word Traveler on it, and we kind of need to do it for the channel. Mm-hmm. I looked at it, and I don't know why I'm offended by this word, but I'm offended by this word.
Is it the word blended?
No. Well, okay, so blended, and then whiskey.
Yes. That's the reason I haven't been interested in this bottle.
It's not a bourbon.
Yeah.
And I like rye. I like other whiskeys.
Well, it could be anything. It could be any sort of, it could be grain neutral spirits. Now, I read in an interview that I think it was Harlan Williams, not Harlan Williams, that's the actor, Harlan Wheatley, said that there is no grain neutral spirit in it, which is sometimes they'll blend it with like basically vodka.
Yeah.
But let's get into before we ramble too long here. On the nose, I'm understanding why the hype on this bottle died. Because I'm not getting much on this, and
It's getting light caramel, but it's fighting for
anything.
Specs are, we don't know age. It is 90 proof.
Yep.
Lowish price.
Yeah, I'm getting. This could be power of suggestion because we've had other blended whiskeys before that are terrible. But I remember one in particular that we had like a kind of a black tea note on it.
So
I feel like I'm getting that a little bit, but it's very bland even at 90 proof.
I would agree. So I'm reluctant to go down where I think this is the reason why it says blended whiskey. Mm-hmm. I'll get there in a minute. Let's talk flavor.
Well, speaking of flavor, let's get into the palate here. Cheers.
You know what? It's fine. And that's the best thing I can say about it.
Yeah.
I
think it's approaching fine.
Yeah.
This comes across as a budget whiskey.
It is a weak, hinting at anything close to
it's
quality or complexity is a stretch.
It's interesting because there are other 90 proof, or even just take Buffalo Trace at 90 proof.
Right.
Has tons more flavor than this.
There's no wood character. Like, this drink's very, very young.
It does.
It drinks. Well, okay, so let's talk mash bill, since I don't know anything about the mash bill.
Well, it's blended different whiskeys.
So
multiple mash bills.
My assumption was this is simply like a bourbon, except in used casks, maybe. And so they have to call it, it's not legally a bourbon. And so, but that's not what I'm getting.
Or it could have been blended with something like that.
So,
like a light whiskey or something like that. A low-proof light whiskey. And we can sit here and speculate all day long on what the blend is, and the truth is we have no idea.
We don't know.
But yeah, this is, I mean, for $40, you can do better than this for $20.
You really can. And
easily. And this isn't a craft distillery or whatever. This is from Buffalo Trace.
And it says the word Buffalo, like they do have some other lines that are not actually labeled Buffalo Trace.
Right.
But this actually says Buffalo Trace
Does
right,
it say,
right on
oh
the
yeah,
front.
it says Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Yep, right on it. And
it doesn't, does it say Chris Stapleton? Oh yeah, it
right
does
there.
on the back.
On the back it's got the story.
I feel like this is maybe Buffalo Trace was trying to get rid of some stock that they had. You know?
Could be.
I just don't really know, aside from the celebrity aspect of it, what the purpose of this is. Aside from the fact that apparently they did this collaboration, and maybe Chris Stapleton just likes smooth,
easy drinking.
Yeah.
You know, whiskey flavored water.
Yeah, this is just very, very, very flat. This would have served well as a control bourbon before
we did
doing
a
reviews.
real,
Yeah, sometimes before we do the reviews, just to kind of clear the palate, you do like a low proof, low flavor bourbon just to kind of, you know, get rid of the whatever flavor of whatever you ate for lunch or whatever.
Sure.
This would have worked very well for that. I don't really know that this will even stand up in a cocktail very well.
You know, it won't. But the one thing I will say in its favor is there's nothing off-putting. Now, while I don't get a lot of interesting like notes out of it, there's no bad notes.
I would agree with you on that. There's nothing offensive.
Now, some other low-proof, low-age type whiskeys actually do have some like kind of off-putting quality. So this,
I feel like this is barely escaped that though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's right on the line there. It comes across as lower proof than 90.
Shockingly, yes.
And so I wonder if it was blended maybe with something like a light whiskey that was aged in used casks, or even like a corn whiskey or a Canadian rye, which I don't know what the aging.
I would think rye, if Buffalo Trace, I'm guessing that's where they went, but I'm guessing.
And so I wonder if it was just blended with something that, where the kind of the oak spice or the oak note would have been even more tamped down, and then you blend it with stuff that maybe isn't as well aged, and you get this, you know.
This is what was rejected for Caribou Crossing.
Oh boy. The 3-year 80 proof bourbon that people just hunt and chase for some
bottle.
God knows
it's the bottle.
Why reason. But yeah, this is a not recommend. I just don't, especially at the $40, and I think we're going to start seeing this being on sale even more. People were legitimately hunting this, posting pictures when they found it.
There have been people buying it for $100 and being genuinely disappointed. Well, I'm not seeing the reviews, but I'm sure people are really disappointed because I'm going to say it, Buffalo Trace is using their name inappropriately on this bottle.
Their name and a celebrity name.
Yeah,
to just sell.
This is an ultimate celebrity scam type thing where they're trying to move product that's not worth the price.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is too, because this was marketed as a Buffalo Trace product. Like you said, they're using their name, and then you market the celebrity aspect to it, which I think for most people who are really into bourbon and bourbon collecting and hunting and stuff, I don't think usually a celebrity name attached to a whiskey is not a good sign.
Not normally. But so he's a country
gimmicky.
singer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not so far out of the bounds of like reasonable that a country music fan would also be a bourbon fan.
Yeah.
So I think it's
country soul.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's got an amazing. Chris Stapleton's great.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a lot of name pushing, and I don't know what
were they thinking? Like, I mean, so this is all marketing, and there's no bourbon. Or it's whiskey
to really back it up.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, and before we get out of here, because I know we're getting a little bit long-winded on this one, but when a big distillery does something like this, they have to know that the people who are going to search this out are going to be two people. People that see the celebrity name attached to it, probably.
Sure.
And then people who are into bourbon. Like Buffalo Trace knows that their products fly off the shelf. And so if I'm at Buffalo Trace and I'm tasting this whiskey and saying we're going to put this product out, you have to know that most bourbon enthusiasts, this is not going to be for them.
Well,
I just can't imagine that with everything else that they produce.
Well, everything else they produce has been priced out of like reasonable levels.
Or distribution's terrible.
Maybe this is bottom shelf pricing to them, but it's still a swing and a miss. Like,
I would like to taste this against like Ancient Age.
Ancient Age or Caribou Crossing. I mean,
Ancient Age at 10 proof points less, I think, competes with this. Right. And I'm not a fan of Ancient Age. So, well, anyway, if you can't tell, we're not big fans of this one, but I suppose it has its audience, kind of like Basil Hayden has its audience.
The one thing I would say is truly someone who's maybe most bourbons are a little too aggressive for him.
This
I know. Keep calling it a bourbon, like whiskey. This could be truly an entry level. It is very approachable.
I will give you that. It's very approachable. Yeah, but
as a starter, maybe.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to race out and get a bottle. I'm glad you bought this one.
If they start being on the shelf at $25 and you're okay with that really easy drinking,
at that point, yeah, absolutely,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't buy one, but I could recommend this at $25, but not much more.
I think so.
25 to 30, maybe.
Right. I think so.
All right, well, this has been Traveler Whiskey, blended American whiskey on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Until next time. See you next time. You know, it didn't actually say American. Maybe it's Canadian. It just said blended. Maybe it's Japanese.
That's true. I screwed that up.